Resort earns a top 10 nod by Ski Magazine readers. A big win for Democrats as the GOP does not get enough support for its replacement health care bill. And the flu makes to the Flathead what the health department wants you to know headed into flu season.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on KAJ, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Don Fisher. There are hundreds of ski resorts throughout the West, but one area is standing out among them the most. Whitefish Mountain Resort has been named the 10th best ski resort in the West by Ski Magazine readers. MTN's Nicole Miller has more.
Of all the resorts in the West, only 30 make this ranking, and then for us to be in the top third of that ranking is really exciting for us.
Whitefish Mountain Resort was ranked the 10th best in the West by readers of Ski Magazine.
We don't get as many skiers as those other resorts do, and so to be recognized like this is just really something special.
Ranking was determined by a combination of reader scores across 10 different categories like guest service, grooming, and kid friendliness, and was ranked number 7 overall in guest service.
One thing that we look for when we're hiring people is people who really care about Montana and care about the mountain and feel passionately about skiing. And so because they're having fun and they're excited about it, that transcends into, it goes over to the guest. And so the guest feels our excitement and our genuine passion for the sport.
Of the 16 resorts in Montana, Whitefish Mountain Resort is the only one that made the top 10. Deer Valley, Utah took the number 1 spot. Sun Valley, Idaho took the 2nd. Reporting in Whitefish, Nicole Miller, MTN News.
And Whitefish Mountain Resort will open for its 70th winter season on December 7th. The resort is also selling adult ski passes at reduced rate until September 30th. And those skiers will have to wait a little bit longer before there's enough snow up there, but I'm sure we're all enjoying the sunny weather, and there might be more on the way. Let's take it over to Russ Thomas for his first forecast. Russ?
Yeah, definitely more on the way. In fact, the next 3 days promising great weather, and we want to definitely enjoy that because it may be the last time we're as warm as we're going to see for quite a while. We'll start with our St. Joseph Medical Center iCam. Again, this shot taken this afternoon. Oh, it was a very nice day. We did see a few clouds roll through. In fact, pretty good cloud cover late in the day, but we're starting to see those clouds clear out right now. 53 Polson, 57 degrees in Missoula, 52 in Kalispell. Again, numbers going up on Wednesday and yet again Thursday and Friday, and we'll have all that for you coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Russ. Cops traded in their handcuffs for aprons during the 5th annual Tip a Cop at McKenzie River Pizza in Kalispell and Whitefish today to support the Special Olympics. Law enforcement officers worked as waiters throughout the day, and their tips will benefit Special Olympics Montana, which is a nonprofit organization that provides year-round sports training and athletic competition to more than 2,000 people with intellectual disabilities in Montana. And officers say public support is essential to keeping these games great for the athletes.
We have multiple different agencies here. We have Montana Highway Patrol, we have Kalispell Police Department, we have members of the Border Patrol, Whitefish Police Department, all here interacting with the athletes and the public, trying to raise awareness for Special Olympics.
And McKenzie River Pizza also pledged to donate $2 for every Tip a Cop specialty pie they sold today. And as we talked about air quality throughout the summer, there was not a lot of positive things to say. And MTN's Augusta McDonald sat down with Missoula County's air quality specialist, who was featured in the Washington Post, for spicing up those depressing daily updates with her own sense of humor.
I noticed that one got some traction for the harbinger of doom and sadness.
Sarah Cofield says she and her colleagues tried to make the best of being the bearers of bad news.
If I wasn't able to put in the more lighthearted moments, that would make it even harder for me. It's impossible for me to not kind of have these little undercurrents of wry statements just kind of going through my brain, and if I can put them out there and other people can enjoy them, then that's all the better. Because otherwise it can be very dry. I've written many very dry, very boring policy documents. I have plenty of experience writing things that you don't want to read.
Twice daily updates sent out across the region became known for making people laugh.
You could see it coming at us. So I had on here the smoke whammy approaches. Not going to lie. As we watched this plume move across the country on the GO 16 satellite loop, your other friendly local air specialist and I sang Ride of the Valkyries badly. It may have sounded like out-of-tune kazoos. We have fun. And that was the truth. we sat here and went do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, because
However, Cofield's humor is bittersweet.
some folks were hit really, really hard and got really, really sick.
Many people, and schools especially, were not prepared for this summer. Between writing updates, she was scrambling to pull together enough air filters for schools and anyone else who needed them. And sometimes they had to tell people no. Cofield and other researchers are now trying to figure out what some of the long-term health effects of this unprecedented wildfire smoke season might be. This summer was no laughing matter, but the air quality team hoped the light touch was appreciated.
Be compassionate for your neighbors. We are all in it together, and it's going to happen again. But we can take care of each other and try to protect yourself and get a filter for next year.
Reporting in Missoula, I'm Augusta McDonald for MTN News.
Besides having a plethora of air filters left over from the summer, they are still already preparing for the next season of poor air quality. And our Montana Wildfire Relief Fund now sits at over $152,000 and counting. With the $50,000 match from the MTN stations and the Arthur Blank Foundation, that puts a total over $262,000. If you haven't already donated, it's not too late. Just go to KAJ18.com for more information. Republican leaders are dealing with another loss in their effort to repeal and replace Obamacare. Party leaders decided not to hold a vote on the latest GOP health care plan. As CBS's Weijia Zhang reports, the development is a victory for Democrats, and President Trump is already moving on to the next item on his agenda.
We don't have the votes.
Republican leaders have decided not to hold a vote on the GOP health care bill after they failed to get enough support to pass it. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said this about the decision.
We haven't given up on changing the American health care system. We are not going to be able to do that this week, but it still lies ahead of us.
President Trump made clear who he's blaming.
We were very disappointed by a couple of senators, Republican senators, I must say. We were very disappointed.
At least 4 Republican senators announced Monday they opposed their party's latest attempt to repeal and replace Obamacare. But the GOP could only afford to lose 2 votes to succeed. House Speaker Paul Ryan also expressed disappointment.
Well, obviously, in the House, we're a little frustrated because the House has done its job. We passed our health care bill last May.
Republicans had until Saturday to pass the bill with a simple majority of 51 votes, but they could not get to that number. By not voting, the GOP is avoiding an official failure on the Senate floor, like the one they suffered in July.
Today, Americans breathe a sigh of relief because the health care of millions has been protected and preserved.
The development is a victory for Democrats who held a rally with Obamacare recipients outside the Capitol. President Trump is already focusing on the next agenda item, tax reform. This morning he met with the House Tax Writing Committee ahead of what he calls a big announcement on Wednesday. Weijia Zhang, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
And a new report from a nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office estimates federal spending on Medicaid would be reduced by $1 trillion over the next 10 years under the Graham-Cassidy bill, but millions of people would lose Medicaid coverage. And a giant shakeup today in college basketball. Federal prosecutors announced 10 people have been charged with fraud and corruption in the NCAA and with the violation of trust of young athletes. Tony Bland is one of the 4 coaches accused of accepting bribes in exchange for their influence, including Lamont Evans of Oklahoma State, Chuck Pearson at Auburn, and Emmanuel Richardson at the University of Arizona. 6 others were charged, including an employee at the Adidas sportswear company. He's accused of funneling money to high school players in exchange for committing to colleges the company sponsors. The feds say their investigation is ongoing and describe the defendants as coyotes circling their blue chip prospects. After the break, meteorologist Russ Thomas will have a sunny forecast that may fade by the weekend. And later, one Montana rancher on the Flathead Indian Reservation is raising bison while also making a business out of it. Coming